The first super session is entitled The $1 Million Tasks and Processes That Will Make or Save $1 Million for Your Agency. And it's a pleasure to introduce Dr. Billy Williams. He's an expert in helping insurance agencies double or triple their current production while cutting their marketing budget by up to 40%. Please give a IIANC round of applause to Dr. Billy Williams.
Good morning. How's everybody doing this morning? All right, here's the deal. I am not a speaker. Okay, so let's just get that straight. I'm not a consultant. I'm not a speaker. I'm not whatever it is that people hire to come out to these events. I am an investor. An investor means that I buy a percentage of insurance agencies, usually 20, 25, 30%, depending on whatever that agency does. I didn't fall into insurance. My family wasn't in insurance. I don't have 50 years of insurance experience. My PhD is in finance. When I retired from the military in 2003 with a PhD in finance, I had to make a life decision. Where was I going to go? Was I going to go into banking, real estate, oil? Well, I'm always the one that looks for niches, that looks to play where nobody else is playing. Everyone was investing in carriers. Everyone was investing in different parts of insurance, Gen Re and all the reinsurers. But nobody was investing in insurance agencies. So what would happen? Brown & Brown would come in, as an example, and say, you've been in insurance for 40 years. You've built a $50 million shop. Now we want to buy you and set you out to pasture. So that's what's happening, right? So I came in and said, you know what? I don't want to set you out to pasture. Yes, I'm part of the new blood. Yes, I'm part of the new technology. I'm part of what insurance is going to look like in 2050, 2075. But what I want to do is I want to buy 15, 20% of your agency. I want to put in our best practices, put in our operations manager, grow this thing for 2050, for 2075, and it's still your agency. I'm just a behind-the-scenes guy. That was in 2004. Fast forward 15 years later. You know what one of the #1 shows on television is? Shark Tank. I've been doing it for 15 years. They just happened to hit it big about 8 or 9 years ago with a good show. So why am I telling you this? Because the processes that we're going to talk about are processes that we put into any agency that we invest in. They've been proven to make money. They've been proven to save money. They've been proven to make sure that things are good. Now, let me tell you the weaknesses, because any plan is only as good as the problems you can overcome to get it in place, right? We walk into an agency, and I say, wow, this is a really good agency. I think I want to invest in this agency. Tell you what, why don't you give me an EBITDA report from your accountant, and let's go from there. EBITDA report? What the hell is that? Okay. Why don't you pull your commission statements by carrier and put those on a pivot table for me? Dude, Angela's not here. She's gone today. Don't know what you're talking about. Is that a problem? It's a problem for me as an investor. But it's also a problem for you as an agency owner because you can't properly value your agency. You can't say, this is what we're worth, this is what we do. We're in the relationship business. Absolutely in the relationship business. But I was looking at the North Carolina report, and I think the average age of, you're broken into sections. You got East, Middle, West. The average age across the boards is about 53 years old. The average CSR, or licensed sales producer, is about 42, 43 years old. So what does that mean? That means there are a lot of technologies, there are a lot of new processes, there are a lot of things that are happening in the insurance industry that if we don't watch out, we're going to get not replaced, but displaced. Displaced. Our positions are going to change, and some of us are not going to be able to change with them. So I'm going to give you a quick little story, then we're going to get into our presentation. In the 1500s, there was an inventor who created this little loom or weaving thing to create socks. He went to the Catholic Church and said, hey, I know all the pastors and ministers or whoever, they wear socks, and all the noblemen and noblewomen wear socks. I've created something that people don't have to do this by hand anymore. And the Catholic Church said, you need to go sit down, shut up, be quiet, go away, because you're going to replace people's jobs. Are we hearing that today in the insurance industry? So he went away. 150 years later, somebody created a weave or loom, and socks were amazing. The people that had to do the socks by hand, some of those people lost their jobs. But socks became a boom. So the overall quality of what we do became better because of technology at that particular time. And if you think about any technology, horse and buggies, lights, phones, technology has always improved, and it's always generally improved the quality of life of the general population while a few suffered. That's not going to change. Sitting in this room 10 years from now, there'll be people who don't have a job in this industry because we didn't change. We didn't modify what we do to reflect what was coming. We were busy holding on to what we had. We've got to move forward. Here's the deal. We move forward without losing the one thing that we do in insurance: build relationships. So last week, I'm always traveling around the country. Last week, I was in Tampa, Florida, and we were talking to a young agents group where the average age of the agent was like 40 years old. They're using technology to circumvent the relationship. You know, they pick up the phone. Hello, how can I help you? That's what we do. Pick up the phone, how can I help you? Let me take care of that for you. What happens with some of these agents? Phone rings. It's sent offshore to a virtual assistant in the Philippines. That virtual assistant goes into the AMS and puts all the information in that the customer wants. Then it's routed back to the United States to a backroom support center. And then that's put into Slack. And then Slack moves it. It's like, are you kidding me? Can't you just pick up the phone and say, hi, how can I help you? Don't use technology to circumvent the relationship. Use technology to reinforce the relationship. Where are my ECU people? ECU, you're our future. Do I have any Appalachian State here? You're our future. And who's the other one? East Carolina? My bad. Okay. UNC Charlotte. Is that right? You're our future, guys. Here's the problem. You're learning from our past. Okay? You're learning from agents who said, this is what I do. I pick up the phone. I talk to Bob down at this particular company. I make sure that this happens. Well, that's the relationship. But you're going to have new technologies. You're going to have new things that enhance the relationship. So if you don't take anything else, young people, away from what I'm telling you, technology should reinforce and enhance the relationship, not circumvent the relationship. Your job is not to avoid a phone call. It's to communicate with people the way that they want to communicate. Maybe I'm a chatbot guy. Maybe I'm a text message guy. Maybe I'm an Instagram guy. Maybe I'm a Facebook guy. Talk to me the way I want to talk, but never circumvent the relationship. Does that make sense? All right, now with that being said, let me get started. Get started? Damn, Billy, you've been up here for 10 minutes already. Okay.